Hello, and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons. This is kind of a special set. You see, I'm dressed up like for Sunday school, but maybe I'll put a tie on for Sunday school too. But just almost as soon as we're through chatting here this morning, I've got an interview. Actually, it's a presentation I'm doing. For the European OTO gathering. So, of course, it'll be over Zoom. But anyway, Constance said I had to look as presentable as I possibly could. So, enjoy it while it bathe in this. Today is actually, truthfully, no joke, at least in the United States, it is National Read a Book Day. So now, many of you who are not in the United States may sort of laugh and say, well, that's the one day Americans read a book. Well, I wish every American would read a book today, but and there really shouldn't be need for a national read a book day. Now I don't read. I never have read as much as say Constance. Constance reads a lot, but not so much for entertainment. She's into Tibetan stuff and she reads a lot, and not only that, but she as she's reading along, she argues, or at least in a sense debates the what the author is writing, and she has a pencil and a nice German eraser. She just calls it the German. Hand me my German. And she argues and writes her thoughts down like paragraph by paragraph. And amazingly, the following paragraphs or two address exactly what she's talking about, and it's a wonderful. I am envious of her ability to do that. But as I've repeated over and over the years, I have sort of attention deficit disorder. Well, I don't know if you could call it that, or it's just I'm lazy. But unless I'm just, absolutely absorbed and passionate about something, I don't take the time to sit down and read as much as I should, or what you would expect from a man of my stature. Anyway, I want you to read a book today, okay? And that's what my talk's about. Not only that, I would prefer that you read a lawn book today, okay? Over the last 35, 40 years, I've churned out quite a few books, and mostly of kind of esoteric or introductory esoteric books. But I've written a couple novels too, and which I'm proud of, and that's an entertaining thing. One of my novels would be a good book to sit down with. Both of them, as a matter of fact, are being or at least Accidental Christ, and a book called Young Aleister Crowley. It's a fictional novel. It's coming out with Weiser, and Accidental Christ is too. But I've written a couple that are of autobiographical nature. In other words, anecdotes, stories that help the stories themselves help explain magical procedures and magical philosophy and give examples of what all this study could actually mean in somebody's life, you know? And that would be a perfect book to read today if you don't have it. First of all, if you are already interested in esoteric stuff, I got to plug the newest book. The newest book is The Tarot Architect. It's a nice, thick book from Weiser. Okay. If you're at all interested in tarot, I've been plugging this book since May, so please don't criticize me too much. I've literally made no other provisions for my family's future. But actually, this book is part of me and part of my great work and part of my great work's at least intended gift to you. So if you're at all interested in tarot and would like to be a better tarot reader, a better tarot magician, would like to understand the Kabbalah a little better in terms of tarot, please, before they sell it out, before they ban books, get the Tarot Architect. But for today, because it's National Read a Book Day, and you would like a Lon book that you don't have, maybe, that you could read as I'm going to sit down on a Saturday and read a book all the way through. You can read it in one day. One of my first books, My Life with the Spirits. Okay. It's one of my earliest books and one of my favorites. And literally, it's summer reading. For National Read a Book Day. Oh, and you can get it on Kindle. All my books, I think, are on Kindle. Like there's the Chicken Kabbalah. So if you think, oh, I don't have time to order it and buy it, if you got a Kindle, download it. It doesn't have a lot of illustrations and stuff. It's perfect for Kindle. And then there is this one by the good folks at Llewellyn. It's called Low Magic. It's all in your head. Just have no idea how big your head is. Now, it's sort of autobiographical in nature, but it deals with stories of magical operations. And in doing so, it describes and has guidance to, well, how do you actually apply all of this technical knowledge in your life. And it deals with stories. And because I guess that I am such a poor student and a poor reader and just a poor student, I was a class clown. I got expelled from high school twice. For being a good boy. Not for being a bad boy, for being a good boy. Anyway, I got in good trouble. Anyway, I learned through stories. It's part of the thing I love the most about Aleister Crowley's autobiography, or his autohagiography, was he was telling stories. And I even open up in the opening epigram of Low Magic. I open it up with that. There is no truth, only stories, say the Zuni, the first peoples of North America. Okay. And I'm going to read just a portion of just one of the chapters to maybe whet your appetite. And it's from the chapter, The Exorcism of Our Lady of Sorrows. Part 1, A School Possessed, and an epigram from St. Teresa of Avila. I don't fear Satan half as much as I fear those who fear him. Perhaps the most dramatic example of low magic, at least as we are defining the term in this book, is the art of exorcism. Exorcism reaches back into prehistory and, together with the rites of fertility and the hunt, vies for the title of humanity's oldest spiritual practice. Writing about exorcism is in its own way as dangerous as exorcism itself, perhaps more so, as there is so much opportunity for serious misunderstanding, not to mention all the evils, ignorance, and fear can visit upon superstitious humanity. For young magicians, dabblers, and dilettantes, the fantasy of waging magical war with a hideous demon who has taken up residence in some tormented soul reeks with the prospect of heroism, spiritual romance, and adventure. In truth, more often than not, where the subject of exorcism is concerned, the whole sad business merely reeks. As I feel I must keep reminding you, I am not a mental health expert, nor do I have a degree in psychology, so please understand my opinions on this subject are drawn purely from a magical perspective and from my experience with the individuals who have solicited my advice or assistance, some of whom I actually felt needed an exorcism, though most of whom I believe did not. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead here. In this place, however, I'm not going to regale you with tales of exorcisms or faith healings or even exorcisms in which and whereby an alleged discarnate entity or spiritual force was driven from the body and mind of an afflicted individual. Instead, I'm going to share with you a story of the exorcism of a school whose faculty and students were visited by a disturbing string of tragedies. It would be improper, indeed unwise, for me to reveal the actual name of the school or the city or state where it is located. I will tell you that it is an archdiocesan high school for girls that has been administered for more than 100 years by a particular maybe peculiar group of Dominican sisters, and that I was retained by the principal of the school, who I will refer to as Sister Martha, under circumstances which I am now about to relate. Now, if that doesn't sound like something that you could relax on a Saturday, the Saturday of the year, that is the National Read a Book Day. Wouldn't you like to finish that story? If so, get low magic. There's also an exorcism story in my life with the spirits, and they're not textbooks, and there isn't homework. There's just stories. Because on one level, as the Zunis say, there is no truth. only stories. And that's where I'll have to end today because I'm coming up on having to get ready for uh, my my little talk, I guess, to our good friends and brothers and sisters in Europe. Until tomorrow and Sunday school, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. Read a book.